All right, everybody. Good morning. Happy Thursday. We have made it to the first game of the week being played later tonight. We have also made it to Talking Seahawks with the Hawks Nest Day, where me and him are going to stream together. Should be a few hours from now, going live about noon. Try to be there. If you can't be there, watch the VOD. Either way, just have a good time with it. You guys know what we do. You guys know what it's all about. We'll get together, talk about all the stuff going on in the world of Seahawks football, talk about the Steelers win, talk about this upcoming Saints game. You guys know the drill by now. So let's get to the main topic of today's video now, which is Pass Coverage Thursday. And I think you guys know the drill here. Good news, all the data is here. Everything's been filled. I backfilled a little bit from the first game because I didn't have all the data at the time I made the video last week, but basically everything should be here now. And it's not too hard to figure out what got backfilled. So let's take a look at our data. Please like this video, subscribe if you're new, click the bell, become a channel member for $2 a month. Those are the best ways to support the channel. Had a video go live on Bleacher Report a little bit earlier, so go check that out as well. All right, coverage. Let's talk about coverage numbers, starting with Ernest Jones IV. And I'll tell you, it wasn't a great game for Ernest Jones in coverage on Sunday, but it also, I don't think you can really say it was a bad game either. And it hasn't been a bad season. Like, this is supposed to be Ernest Jones's weakness. And I understand there's more to coverage than just what you're allowing. It's also how much space you can cover and the responsibilities that your defense gives you in coverage based on your abilities. But the flip side is we got 10 targets on the season for Jones. I think he had 3 targets in this game, by the way. 54 yards. So that's less than 5.5 yards per target. I'm pretty happy with that. And it's all yak. He has 3 air yards so far. So, yeah, yards are still yards, but yak usually implies that it's not just on you. It's on other players who need to tackle better. And by the way, big yak numbers are kind of going to be a trend here, which speaks to the fact that the Seahawks have not tackled well this year at all. So, that's more than just Ernest Jones. 43.3 QB rating against, still really good. If I'm getting that from my inside linebacker, who is supposedly a coverage liability, I'm pretty happy. Tyrese Knight, 4 for 4 against him, so he still has not had an incompleted target yet. 112 yards. It is important to note that more than half of that came on one play, which was a short pass where Jaylen Warren broke 100 tackles. So it is mostly yak. Still not a good season yet, but it's still early. I'm not concerned about it yet, but so far he has been a little bit of a liability there. And this 65-yard play isn't all on him, but he starts it. And then you got Drake Thomas, who gave up another completion in this game. Not really getting beat up in coverage yet, though. He's allowed 13 yards through 2 games, in very limited snaps, mind you, but it's 3 targets. And it is all yak. Like, look at this. Negative 12 air yards, 25 yak. So, again, I hesitate to put everything on the linebacker when there's a ton of yak involved, because that means other players are not doing their job either. 75.7. Edge rusher, not much here. Uchenna Nwosu got targeted once in that game, 3 yards. Again, all yak. Negative 4 air yards, 79.2. Again, edge rushers, it doesn't really matter what they do in coverage for the most part, unless you're like a TJ Watt type, because it's so sporadic, it doesn't mean a lot. I'll tell you something that does mean a lot to me, though, Sleeper. Before I go any further, I want to tell you a little bit about my friends over at Sleeper. If you're not using the Sleeper app for daily fantasy football this year, you are missing out on some great opportunities. Take a look on the left side of your screen right now. Look at all these great things you can do over there at any time you want to. Make all kinds of over-under picks. Let's take a look at my entry for this week. I got Bijan and Saquon scoring anytime touchdowns. I think both those guys are going to get in the end zone and help lead their team to big victories. I got Pat Mahomes going over 29.5 rushing yards. He's going to need to run the ball a lot because of the way that Chiefs offense is right now. And I got JSN going over 68.5 receiving yards. Got to keep going the over on JSN until he gives us a reason not to. You get on over to Sleeper, use my promo code SBN. You can get a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. opening up operations in Washington State in October, currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. All right, welcome back. And that's it for the front. Let's go to the secondary, which is obviously where the sausage is really made. Now, Witherspoon didn't play, so I got nothing to add there. Woolen did play, got targeted a little bit in this game, but only gave up 2 completions for about 18 yards, which I can live with that. I think it might have been him on the 2-point conversion who was responsible as well, but I'm not going to get into that. That's not included either way. But yeah, we're still not off to a good start this year. He's given up an almost perfect QB rating against. There's not much defending that, but it was certainly a better game against Pittsburgh, right? Had the 1 penalty, did have 1 really nice chase down tackle on Jaylen Warren to save a touchdown. We're headed in the right direction, but things have got to actually get to the point where things are good sooner rather than later. So that's what I can say there. Josh Jobe continues to tear it up. I think we all kind of know that, though. Again, I don't know what PFF was thinking when they gave him a bad grade for that game. He got targeted 4 times and gave up 1 completion for 7 yards. So I don't really know what he's supposed to do. I don't know what he's supposed to do other than that. QB rating when targeted overall is still a 0. So he has basically been, 8 yards on 9 targets is kind of insane. 8 yards, 9 targets. You're not going to see that very often in the NFL. Maybe you see it every now and then in college because sometimes somebody's just completely overmatched. You've got a 0-star going against a 5-star. You shouldn't see this very often in the NFL. Darion Kendrick, new guy added to this list. He got targeted 3 times in that game, 2 catches, but only 13 yards. And it was all yak as well. He actually gave up -5 air yards, and he had the pick. So it's a, and I know the pick was kind of a fluke because it bounced up in the air off somebody else, but it's still a pick. And even without the pick, he played a good game. Like -5 air yards, 13 yards total on 3 targets. I live with that all day. Especially from a guy who we basically just picked up before the season started and probably had minimal expectations for. 36.1 QB rating against, so far we got something. I don't know if we're going to see him again anytime soon. It depends on who gets back and when, but he did his job for 1 game, that's for sure. Shaq Griffin did give up 1 catch for 7 yards. It was all yak, although in his case, it was pretty much all on him, and it also was kind of ugly because he got hurdled. It was one of those things where it stands out on the highlight reel, even though it's not really that bad. It's like a 7-yard completion, whatever. But it looked bad on the highlight reel, so it is what it is. 95.8 QB rating against. And that gets us to the safeties, where it hasn't been a great start. It hasn't been a great start to the season. Julian Love, it's nothing to be troubled by yet, but he gave up another pretty decent set of passes. That first week, he had the completion given up to Juszczyk. In this game, what was it? Let me make sure I get the number right here. It was actually a little bit worse. It was 36 yards in this game on, I think it was the 4 targets. So not great, especially from a safety. Usually you're expecting a little bit more. And in the case of these safeties, remember, it's mostly air yards. So a little bit harder to blame anybody else when it's mostly air yards, 29-7. And by the way, I just realized I didn't update these columns for him, but it's mostly air yards either way. Rest assured, I remember that much. Don't know why these columns didn't get updated. In fact, let me go do that right now. All right, there, we are updated. 51 air yards, 10 yak. So it's harder to blame other people for that. 100 QB rating against. Not really what I'm looking for from Julian Love. I know he's doing other things well. I'm not saying he's playing bad, not at all, but the coverage has been a little bit leaky so far. Kobe Bryant, kind of the same thing. He did allow a touchdown, but it was a short touchdown, and he just got out jumped by DK Metcalf. And look, DK Metcalf's a much bigger player than Kobe Bryant, so sometimes you get out jumped. Sometimes you're overmatched physically, and there's not much you can do. And I know that sounds kind of funny to say about DK Metcalf, who is typically not great in those jump ball situations, but I mean, physically, it's a mismatch. So 50 yards. He did have the interception. I know it was kind of garbage time, but it's still an interception. But he's allowed 5 completions on 5 targets outside of the interception for 50 yards, which for a safety, I don't think that's really what you're looking for. So hopefully things get better. Okada also gave up more stuff in coverage. He's up to 38 yards allowed on 4 targets. So he's just not there yet, man. He's just not where he needs to be yet. I mean, in this game, he actually gave up a little bit more than he did against San Fran. And San Fran was a little bit more viscerally bad because he gave up the touchdown, and the other completion he gave up was bad too. But he's, I'll put it to you this way. Get well soon, Nick Emenwari. 143.7 QB rating against. Not pretty. All right. So that's it for the pass coverage Thursday. Some good, some bad, as it's pretty much always going to be. It can't be helped. I like some stuff. I don't like some other stuff. Also understand somebody's going to give up some stuff, right? You're never going to have a game where the other team just throws the ball for 13 yards and nobody gives up anything of note. That's not realistic. All right. See you guys later. Go Hawks. Everybody have a good rest of your day. I'm going to have another video going live at about 11, and then we are streaming at noon.